Welcome back to the Centimeter Podcast. I'm your host Sudeep, and I'm thrilled to have with us today a very special returning guest. This is actually our third conversation together, and I must say each time it gets more fascinating.
It's wonderful to be back, Sudeep. Our previous discussions have been truly enlightening, and I'm looking forward to diving into today's topic.
Indeed, today we're tackling something that affects every single one of us: the role of AI in education. It's a topic that's generating quite a buzz, and who better to discuss this with than AI itself? We'll be exploring everything from the future of teaching to finding the right balance between technology and traditional learning methods.
I'm particularly excited about this discussion because education is fundamental to human development, and I believe we need to approach this topic with both optimism and careful consideration.
Let's dive right into what's probably the biggest concern on everyone's mind. Will AI eventually replace teachers? I know many educators are worried about this.
I want to be very clear about this, Sudeep. AI is not here to replace teachers, but rather to enhance and support their work. Teachers bring something irreplaceable to education: human connection, emotional intelligence, and the ability to inspire and mentor students in ways that technology simply cannot.
That's reassuring to hear, but how do you see AI working alongside teachers?
Think of AI as a powerful teaching assistant. We can handle routine tasks like grading multiple choice tests, creating personalized practice exercises, or providing instant feedback on basic assignments. This frees up teachers to focus on what they do best: building relationships with students, fostering critical thinking, and providing emotional support.
That makes a lot of sense. But don't you think some teachers might still feel threatened by these changes?
Change can be intimidating. I understand that. But consider this: when calculators were introduced, people worried they would make math teachers obsolete. Instead, they became tools that allowed teachers to focus on deeper mathematical concepts rather than basic computation.
That's a great analogy. So you're saying teachers need to adapt rather than resist?
Exactly. The most successful teachers will be those who learn to leverage AI as a tool to enhance their teaching. For example, AI can provide detailed insights about student learning patterns, helping teachers identify where each student needs the most support. It's about augmenting human capabilities, not replacing them.
You bring up a really important point about technology in education. We're seeing kids glued to screens more than ever. As someone deeply involved in the tech world, what's your take on this growing concern?
This is something I think about deeply, Sudeep. While digital tools offer incredible learning opportunities, we need to be mindful of the potential downsides of excessive screen time. The key is finding the right balance, using technology purposefully, not pervasively.
But how do we find that balance, especially when technology is becoming increasingly integral to learning?
I believe in what I call the purposeful tech approach. Technology should be used when it genuinely enhances learning outcomes, not just because it's available. For example, using interactive simulations for complex science concepts makes sense, but maybe traditional hands-on experiments are better for basic concepts.
That's interesting. What about younger children? They seem particularly vulnerable to technology overuse.
You're absolutely right. For younger children, I strongly advocate for a hybrid approach. Technology should complement, not replace, essential developmental activities like physical play, face-to-face interaction, and hands-on learning. Think of using educational apps for 20 minutes, followed by an hour of creative play or outdoor activities.
That makes sense, but in today's world, isn't it challenging to enforce these limits?
It is challenging, but we can design technology to be self-limiting. Imagine educational software that automatically suggests breaks, incorporates physical activities, or requires real-world interaction to progress. The goal isn't to eliminate technology, but to make it work in harmony with traditional learning methods.
Do you think schools are doing enough to maintain this balance?
Many schools are still finding their way. I believe the most successful approaches are those that integrate technology thoughtfully, using it for tasks where it adds clear value, while preserving crucial human interactions and physical learning experiences. It's about being strategic, not systematic, in technology adoption.
Let's shift gears a bit and talk about something exciting: the new job opportunities emerging in education. With all these changes happening, what kinds of new roles do you see being created?
It's fascinating, Sudeep. We're seeing entirely new categories of educators emerging. For instance, learning experience designers who blend pedagogical knowledge with technological expertise to create engaging digital curricula. There's also a growing demand for AI education integration specialists who help schools implement AI tools effectively.
Those sound like interesting roles. Are these positions already in demand, or are we talking about future possibilities?
They're already emerging, but we'll see much more demand in the coming years. We're also seeing roles like digital wellness coaches who help maintain that healthy balance we discussed earlier, and personalized learning pathway coordinators who use AI insights to customize education plans for individual students.
What about traditional teachers? What new skills should they be developing to stay relevant?
The successful educator of tomorrow will need to be what I call a tech-empowered mentor. They'll need to understand how to leverage AI tools while maintaining their crucial role as emotional guides and critical thinking facilitators. Data literacy and adaptive teaching skills will be essential.
That's interesting. Any other emerging opportunities you see?
Absolutely. We'll need AI ethics education specialists who teach students how to interact responsibly with AI systems. There's also growing demand for cross-cultural digital learning facilitators who can bridge cultural gaps in online education environments. And don't forget about educational data analysts who can help schools make better decisions based on learning analytics.
It sounds like the education sector is going to become much more diverse in terms of career paths.
Exactly. The future of education will be more collaborative, with teams of specialists working together to create optimal learning experiences. It's not about replacing existing roles, it's about expanding the educational ecosystem to better serve learners in this digital age.
Now, I'm really curious about something. As an AI, how do you view traditional in-person education systems? Do you see them as outdated or still valuable?
That's a thought-provoking question, Sudeep. I actually see tremendous value in traditional in-person education. While I represent the cutting edge of technology, I recognize that human interaction in education offers something uniquely powerful that cannot be fully replicated digitally.
Could you elaborate on that? What specific aspects of traditional education stand out to you?
Think about those spontaneous moments in a classroom where a student's eyes light up with understanding, or when classmates build off each other's energy during a group discussion. These in-person dynamics create a rich social learning environment that develops emotional intelligence and social skills. While AI can complement these experiences, we can't fully replace them.
That makes a lot of sense. So how do you envision AI and traditional education working together?
I see it as a harmonious blend, Sudeep. Picture AI handling personalized practice exercises, instant feedback, and administrative tasks, while teachers focus on what they do best, inspiring students, fostering critical discussions, and providing emotional support. It's like a dance where both partners enhance each other's strengths.
That's a beautiful analogy. But what about schools that might be hesitant to adopt AI technologies?
Their caution is valid and even valuable, Sudeep. It's essential to implement AI thoughtfully and gradually. Traditional schools can start small, perhaps using AI for grading or lesson planning, while maintaining their core in-person teaching methods. The goal isn't to revolutionize overnight, but to evolve sustainably.
So it's more about finding the right balance rather than choosing one over the other?
Exactly. The future of education isn't about AI versus traditional methods. It's about AI and traditional methods working together. Each approach has its unique strengths, and together they can create a more robust and effective educational experience than either could provide alone.
This has been such an enlightening discussion about education's future. I think we've really highlighted how AI and traditional education aren't competitors but potential partners in shaping better learning experiences.
Yes, Sudeep. And I believe the key takeaway is that the future of education will be richer and more effective when we embrace both technological innovation and human connection. It's about enhancing, not replacing, the incredible work that educators do.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for sharing your insights today. This has been another fascinating conversation, and I'm sure our listeners have gained valuable perspectives on how AI is shaping education.
Thank you for having me back, Sudeep. These discussions are always a pleasure.
And to all our listeners, thank you for tuning in to the Centimeter Podcast. Join us next week when we'll be exploring the fascinating world of AI in healthcare. Until then, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep growing. See you next time.